none of your players got hurt? What if everything went exactly how you wanted it to? What if every player hits their ceiling, nothing goes wrong for the entire season? Then what would be the optimal strategy? That is what we're going to find out in today's video.
It's short king summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's short king summer.
Very simple concept for us in today's video. We are going to be drafting in a $20 10 entry max best ball tournament over on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Davis if you have not signed up yet. And very simple concept. We are going to draft like every pick we make not only is correct, but that every pick that we are going to make actually hits their ceiling. So what does the ceiling look like versus the two guys that we are conceiving of at average draft position? To say that every player has a similar ceiling would certainly be wrong. So without further ado, let's draft the greatest 90th percentile team of all time. As we're pondering ceilings here on the turn, I think there's one very, very clear pick, and I think that it's Ashton Jeanty. The median return includes some not great season for first-round running backs. Instead, though, we are going to take Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers had one of the top 3 targets per route run rates in the entire National Football League last year. I think not even close, I would say, of a player who is not considered, a true candidate to go 101, other than Jefferson and Chase. If I could name one player who's likely to see 30% of their team's targets, it would certainly be Nabers over Nico Collins, honestly, even over Puka, and maybe over CeeDee. The wide receiver twos that Nabers are going to be playing with is Darius Slayton. And then I'm definitely going to take Devin A-Chain. I'm taking A-Chain over London. I'm taking A-Chain over A.J. Brown. I'm taking A-Chain over Henry. Obviously, great upside cases for these players as well. That's why they're being drafted so high. But I think we've already seen the true 99th percentile for A-Chain in two ways. We've seen it first when he was the greatest rusher, basically, in the NFL as a rookie. He averaged over 8 yards a carry, led the NFL in rushing yards over expectation, reverted in 2024, but had 87 receptions in the passing game. You put those two seasons together with his touchdown rate as a pass catcher, and all of a sudden you have prime Jamal Charles on your fantasy team. So we're about to be back up at the 3-4 turn, which actually I think is like one of the most ceiling versus floor discrepancy spots. I think that Mike Evans, super safe floor play. I think Kyren Williams, a pretty safe floor play. Honestly, I sort of feel the quarterbacks are floor plays to some degree. Now, obviously, if we're thinking about pure ceiling, we've already seen probably the greatest amount of ceiling you're going to see from a single player in Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has had seasons with a touchdown rate above 8%. He's never had, I believe, a double-digit touchdown rushing season. Let me fact-check myself on that real quick to make sure that I'm not lying to you good folks. Lamar Jackson's best ever touchdown rushing season, 7, seems preposterous, seems absurd. Does any player, even Allen, have a higher single season ceiling if Lamar truly went nuts? Lamar with multiple 40 passing touchdown seasons, but no 10 rushing touchdown season. Don't even think it is particularly debatable. Again, going with absolute ceiling, we're taking Jameson Williams. We're taking, what if everything goes right for Jameson Williams? What if Jameson Williams, instead of getting 91 targets, what if Amon-Ra St. Brown gets a little bit nicked up? What if Ben Johnson being removed from the offense makes them a little bit less efficient, increases the overall offensive play volume? What if Jameson Williams, after basically just playing a real football season for the very first time, just gets a little bit better? He's not even 26 years old yet. I think it's certainly possible. So Nabers, A-Chain, Lamar Jackson are all ceiling team through 4 rounds. Another area of the draft where you start to ask yourself the difference between floor and ceiling. Kamara certainly feels like a safe play, right? You absolutely know Alvin Kamara's coming out week 1. Dude's projecting for 14.7 points on Underdog Fantasy. Kind of the same deal here. I'm going to go RJ Harvey because in a world where J.K. Dobbins didn't exist, a world where J.K. Dobbins got injured, or a world where RJ Harvey is just really good right away. We are talking about an offense with 214 receptions to their running backs in each of the last 2 seasons, or over the last 2 seasons rather, which would make them the most passes completed running backs of any offense. And I think this pick is pretty easy. It's absolutely Olave. Olave has the volume that would be commiserate with a third-round wide receiver. Go look up your favorite projection of choice. Maybe you really like JJ Zacharyson. Maybe you really like Mike Clay over at ESPN. Maybe you like my boys over at Fantasy Life. Maybe you love Michael Leone at Established to Run. If you were able to peek at any of their raw data projections, Olave in terms of raw targets or raw targets per game, top 10, top 15 easily. It's Tyler Shuck concerns, it's Spencer Rattler concerns, but we don't care about that because in our assumption, Tyler Shuck is good. Rattler is good. It doesn't matter because we are just assuming the volume, the base case is what we really care about. So we are slamming the button on round 6, Chris Olave. So we are in a very slappy room here. Quinshon Judkins almost just made it to us at this pick. I think given that we have already taken Jameson Williams, we certainly need to take Josh Downs here. And this one is not even hard. Josh Downs, top 10 in the NFL in targets per route run, top 10 in the NFL in separation at the catch point, top 10 in the NFL in yards per route run. Now, obviously, part of that is he doesn't run a ton of routes. He's been a supplemental wide receiver. He's not always played in 12 personnel for his teams. I expect that is going to be quite a bit different this year for the 2025 Indianapolis Colts as they work away from Anthony Richardson. And I think this one is pretty simple as well. Isaiah Pacheco has been a running back 1 level scorer in his career. You might ask yourself, Davis, how much ceiling can Isaiah Pacheco possibly have? And I would tell you, buddy, he's got a ton. Kareem Hunt averaged 14.5 expected points per game for the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024, despite recording 0 rushes over 20 yards, 0 explosive runs for the entire season. Isaiah Pacheco has recently been stated by Kansas City beat writers to be the unquestioned Week 1 starter. We're asking ourselves, what is the best possible case scenario for Isaiah Pacheco? It's that he's fully healthy. He came back too quickly last year from his leg injury. He's fully healthy now. He looks like the same angry at the ground runner that he was before he broke his leg. And he simply runs for 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns for the 2025 grounded pound Kansas City Chiefs. Well, I am never going to forget the person who just selected Mark Andrews at 104. This is fine. I am looking at you right now. Pretty disappointing to see that there. 11 touchdowns last season for Mark Andrews, but never fear, boys. Travis Kelce is simply going to turn back the clock. We already have Isaiah Pacheco, so we're doing a minor bet here on the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce, the best fantasy football tight end of the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, since ever the last peak Rob Gronkowski season, has been a first round pick on Underdog on multiple occasions. We are not particularly worried about his ability to get there. We're just worried about Travis Kelce's frequency of how often he gets there over the course of the season. And let's just imagine that he turns back the dial. Honestly, he doesn't even have to turn back the dial. He really just has to get double-digit touchdowns, which if Travis and Mahomes kind of want to, if they want to get to 40 touchdowns as a team, I definitely think that they can do it. And we have a little bit of a tough decision here between Bateman and Trey Harris. But if we're thinking about ceiling, if we're thinking about what is going to be best for us in week 17, we just have to go Rashad Bateman here. We've made our layered bet on Lamar Jackson. We bet that he has a 9% touchdown rate again. And we're also betting that Rashad Bateman is kind of a fake good wide receiver season from last year, but it doesn't matter because we're saying, what if he also has, 8% of his receptions go for touchdowns the way that it happened last year, which is totally fine at pick 110. Rashad Bateman with Lamar Jackson, which now brings our roster to Lamar Jackson, Devin Achane, RJ Harvey, Isaiah Pacheco, Malik Neighbors, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Josh Downs, Rashad Bateman, and Travis Kelce. What can go right? A lot. From a roster construction perspective, it's sort of interesting. Normally speaking, I would be thinking about a second quarterback right about now. Do we want to backstack Trevor Lawrence? Do I want to, start thinking do I want Chuck? Do I want Daniel Jones? I think pretty clearly what we want to do here is push second quarterback because we took Lamar Jackson and we're betting on him winning the MVP. Right now, we are going to take Isaac Guerendo. Why are we going to take Isaac Guerendo? I don't think any player has kind of a better ceiling than Isaac Guerendo because he's playing behind the greatest fantasy football running back of our time, but that guy happens to have a little bit of a bum Achilles right now. Injuries are kind of related to ceiling. You hate to admit it, but it certainly is true. Definitely going to take Tucker Kraft right now. Tucker Kraft, one of the best per target tight ends in the NFL over the most recent 2 seasons. Of course, Matt LaFleur and several other members of the Packers coaching staff has said that he could lead the team in receptions. He was second on the team behind only Dontavian Wicks in targets last year. And now our tight end room is done. We got 2 guys. By the way, I did mean to mention this. Another huge part of drafting, like you're right, no more the 3 tight ends, the 3 quarterbacks. Guys, you made your picks. Not to say you should always do this, but if we're drafting like we're right, I mean, come on, man. You don't always need 3 quarterbacks. That second group of quarterback did just start to get decimated in between picks. We did just see Stafford go. We saw Bryce Young go. We saw Cam Ward go at 148. This is enough of an ADP value drop on Lawrence. His ADP is 133. We're at 155. I'm starting to think about it. What I'm actually going to do, though, is I believe this guy behind me is auto-drafting. I want Jaden. Wow, what do? I want Jaden Blue. What if he's just the starting running? You know what? I'm going to do it. This guy behind me can have Trevor Lawrence if he wants, because I still have Dart live. I still have Shuck live. I still have Daniel Jones live, and I don't really care. This guy behind me can have 4 quarterbacks and do whatever he wants to the pool. That is not really related to today's concept, but that is just good advice in general, is pay attention if someone is auto-drafting behind you, because you can kind of end up dictating what happens to their team and dictate what happens to your team. He took Pat Bryant, so maybe he's auto-drafting with rankings in. Maybe he's paying EstablishTheRun.com to do rankings for him. So I actually am just going to keep pushing it. I think Jaden Blue is just an incredibly obvious pick in this situation. And I think another incredibly obvious pick is someone you're not going to expect, Quentin Johnston. First off, if you did not watch the stream with Mr. Mason Dodd from Flock Fantasy over the weekend, you'd be like, Davis, Quentin Johnston, you would never take Quentin Johnston. Well, how about this? If you run a quick filter on Pro Football Reference for first-round wide receivers, year 1, year 2, over 1,000 yards, under 1,500 yards, and over 5 touchdowns, you get names like Will Fuller, you get names like Des Bryant, you get names like Hakeem Nicks. Now, you do have 2 huge failures in Josh Doxson and Jahan Dotson, whose names I often get confused in my head. But I think basically no other year 2 wide receiver would have been able to have Quentin Johnston's season from 2024 and be drafted this low in ADP. Basically we hold the aesthetics of Johnston's game against him far too much. Folks, what if Jackson Dart just starts? Have you guys thought about it? Because I've thought about it. We're taking Jackson Dart. We're taking Jackson Dart early because I didn't want to get peeled off by the guy auto-drafting behind me who did take Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, and Bo Nix. But more importantly, I've been thinking about this a lot recently. And the 2v2 at the end here with your round 15 and your round 18 pick, it's never worth it. You cannot find a 2v2 from round 15 and round 18 that makes it worth it, right? Jackson Dart and Parker Washington versus De'Ami Brown and whatever. It just simply doesn't work. We're going to take another wide receiver here. We are going to take Darius Slayton. Actually, you know what? We're taking Keenan Allen. And we're going to take Keenan Allen for a very simple reason. First off, I think I literally used Darius Slayton as an example of a player not to take earlier in the video. But a key point that I want to make if we're thinking about ceiling, the Dart ceiling, by the way, is obvious. He's going to start in week 5. He's going to start for the rest of the year. He scrambles. He's quite good. Like if Dart returns value for the Giants, he's going to return value for your fantasy team. Number one thing you'll see in fantasy this year, Keenan Allen signs with the team, the Chargers, the Bears, the Jets, the Eagles. It doesn't matter. He signs, immediately he's going back up 5, 6 he's going to be a 13th round pick. He's going to be a 12th round pick. You can take that to the bank. What if Keenan Allen signs before this video even comes out? I'm going to look like a genius. We're not concerned about zeros right now. All that matters on this team is absolutely what is the best case scenario for any of these players. What is the best case scenario for Justice Hill? He's never winning us our league. What is the best case scenario for Blake Corum? Much better best case scenario for Corum. We're a little bit behind at running back, not a ton, but I do think we need to take a 6th there. Kind of interesting. We could take another tight end here. We could take another quarterback here. Like, it's totally viable, I think, to take Shuck or Daniel Jones here. Also viable to take a wide. You know what? I mean, Davis, what are you thinking? It's Dontavian Wicks. Dontavian Wicks basically has the best peripheral stats of any player at the wide receiver position in the entire NFL. No one gets more open. No one has better the fantasy points data numbers, the separation at catch point numbers. Honestly, no player has better targets per route run. Technically did lead the 2024 Packers in targets. The issue is he kind of stinks. But what if he doesn't stink? What if his drop rate is 0% for the entirety of 2025? It's pretty interesting to think about. The team is Lamar Jackson with a 10% touchdown rate, Jackson Dart starting from week 5, Devin Achane with 100 receptions and 15 rushing touchdowns, RJ Harvey starting from week 1, a fully healthy Isaiah Pacheco, Isaac Urendo in a hybrid Deebo Samuel, Kyle Spellcheck role with CMC missing some games with injury, Jaden Blue starting week 1 for the Dallas Cowboys, Blake Corum benefiting from Kyron Williams' inefficiency or injury, Malik Neighbors scoring, a touchdown per game with Jackson Dart playing his ass off. Jameson Williams with 140 targets, a fully healthy Chris Olave. Josh Downs as a starter with Daniel Jones completing 68% of his passes. Rashad Bateman scoring 5 touchdowns over 50 yards for the 2025 Ravens. Quentin Johnston is just not as bad as his haters think he is. He starts all year opposite Ladd McConkey and Trey Harris. Keenan Allen signs with the Kansas City Chiefs or the Chicago Bears or the Chargers or the Eagles or even the Jets. Who freaking cares? That pick is nothing but picking up a nickel off the road. Dontavian Wicks starts and doesn't drop a pass for the entire year. Travis Kelce simply plays like Travis Kelce instead of, Jason Kelce at the tight end position. And Tucker Kraft continues to build on his incredible resume up into this point in the National Football League. That is going to do it for us here in our all-ceiling draft. Like the video, subscribe for daily fantasy football videos, and I will see you guys all back tomorrow.